In the last video, I spoke about facing criticism as a monastic musician. This one speaks about healing. Now, I believe that music has a universal capacity for healing and communion, precisely because it chimes so readily with the searching, recognised or not, that takes place in the hearts of all people. Music heals because it forces whoever has ears to hear to respond to what the music presents to them in their hearts. And we're not necessarily dealing with the presentation of all good things. Even if the music is bad, perhaps one of the monks sings too loudly, too flat over everyone else, even then it forces whoever has ears to hear to respond with charity. Music making and listening to music in the monastic setting throws open our very hearts, often presenting us with what we don't wish to know. We dedicate our lives to listening, to developing ears to hear, but often, rather than choir being a place of serenity and communion, it can be a place of dissension and ill will. Of course, on this level, we aren't any longer dealing with cracked notes or flatness. What we're dealing with is brokenness. We're seeing into the brokenness of individuals. And we see this brokenness through our own brokenness. This is a most urgent, heroic opportunity for communion, not only with those around us, but with ourselves, and of course, with God. One of my most treasured monastic experiences was sitting in silence in the monastic choir after Compline. It was during winter, and the whole community was waiting in darkness. We'd given our daily offerings, our devotion, our singing, our work, our lives. It was all peppered with brokenness, with failure. But I was always trying, always listening. It was as though we were sat in a great ship. The wind outside sounded like the sea battering up against us. Of course, we weren't rowing. Instead of rowing, we prayed and we waited until we reached the shore. We had no idea when the shore would come. But one day those doors would open and we would walk out onto dry and solid ground. We would come to the homeland. The time we spend with each other now in the bowels of that ship, listening, chipping away the hard exterior that is ego, waiting in the dark, that time should be spent learning. We should learn how to love, because love is the language of the homeland we're travelling to. If those doors open and we haven't learnt to love, to listen, then we won't recognise the shore when it comes. The homeland, of course, is God. I say God as opposed to heaven because we are destined as Christians not only to become like God, to become increasingly more like God, but to become part of Him. Heaven is Godness. So that homeland is God, and we're destined for that shore, and His Spirit is always discernible to those with ears to hear. So I challenge everyone who wants to develop their love and their practice of plain song accompaniment to approach it prayerfully with ears to hear, to listen, and to constantly ask yourself, what is the Spirit saying?